Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective, back with another video talking Texas. Matthew, thank you for producing. As always, I appreciate you, brother. Y'all make sure you show him some love in the comments if you like the new setup and production that we have going. It's good to have Matthew back. Guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't even know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm asking for support. About 100-something people away from 10,000 subscribers. That's my goal, that's your goal, that's our goal as a channel. So I appreciate everybody that enjoys this content and hits that subscribe button. It does mean a lot to us. The video is about this. It's recruiting. And I haven't talked recruiting in a little bit, and a lot of people are starting to freak out. Message boards, social media. I get it. My message is twofold. Number one, in regards to recruiting, relax. There's some wins that have happened. There's some L's they've taken. And I'm going to get to the greater point I want to make in regards to recruiting. But when we're looking at this staff and evaluating them, let me make one thing very clear. Product launch is this fall. Product launch is September 4th. That's when I'm going to turn up and evaluate this staff. Now, can I grade evaluations? Can I grade how they recruited or prioritize certain guys? Sure. Do I understand the frustration about Terrence Brooks committing to Ohio State, or Kelvin Banks committing to Oregon, and other guys, like Ruben Owens decommitting from the class, or Evan Stewart earlier decommitting? Like, I get the highs and the lows, but that's A, recruiting in general, and B, relax. They don't have a product yet. I'm going to get back to that, but I want to mention this. We, in our minds as fans, have to work backwards. And that's how I'm viewing this. You have to work backwards in terms of your expectations. And what I mean by that is, working backwards, September 4th is where I'm judging the staff, not now. See, now, I know they can recruit. And I've said this before on this channel numerous times, because their resumes speak for themselves, the entire staff. We've all applauded the staff that Steve Sarkisian has put together. We've applauded the support that Chris Del Conte has given him. That is we know all those things. Those are givens. But when it comes to the evaluations, the expectations, and what will come of recruiting, the biggest thing that can push recruiting forward is what we see on the field. It is that Steve Sarkisian offense. It is that Pete Kwiatkowski defense from Washington. Those factors, it's the Jeff Bank charisma and the element that he will bring on the sidelines and in all that energy. That's what will turn this thing around. Because right now, these recruits are smart. And right now, with all the attrition that's happened over the past decade, you cannot put that on the current staff. But with all of the attrition, that's a Texas-sized problem. The recruits are saying, show me. The recruits are saying, dude, Sark, I love your pitch. Pete, Kyle Flood, Jeff Banks, I was rocking with y'all when y'all were at Washington, Alabama and whatnot. But I've seen all these dudes come to Texas, crash and burn, come up short, what have you. I've seen guys come there that were either at my high school early on, big bros that I looked up to, come to Texas and be frustrated, come to Texas and get underdrafted, come to Texas and not make all conference. That starts on September 4th. That's product launch. If we're looking at this like we're Apple, right, and we have a new product coming forward, yeah, we'll have the best people behind it. Yeah, we'll generate buzz. But at the end of the day, judgment comes when the product comes. That's when we assign the grades. So the frustration over recruiting, understand now, especially in the era of NIL, which I will get to later in this video, if you want to get upset about something as a fan, get upset that we only had 2 players on the preseason all-conference Big 12 list. Get upset that it was only our 5s that made it, in Bijan Robinson and Deshaun Jameson. Get upset about that. Get upset at the fact that that list came out, and things have changed when only 2 Texas players make that list, and no one's complaining about it because the list is accurate. Because maybe you can make a case for somebody like a Keandre Coburn here or DeMarvion Overshown, but it's really hard to make a case for DeMarvion Overshown, as much as I love him, over Rose and Terrell Bernard and Nick Benito. Establish names in the conference. Production. That's what has to start on September 4th. I'm upset about that. And that's where I'm judging them. And I'm not upset with the staff about that. I'm upset at the situation that Texas is currently in, because we talk about recruiting, but this staff, when it comes to production, development is a part of that. Are we going to develop some of those names I just mentioned? Are we going to develop other guys on the roster I haven't mentioned, like an Alfred Collins and other names, the quarterbacks, whether you want to call them Casey Carter, Hudson Thompson, because they're all one and the same in the quarterback room. And I'm mashing them all together because they all need to develop. Because you develop the quarterback room, you develop Malik Murphy, who's coming in 2022. You have a shot at Arch Manning. It's a lot easier to come aboard a train that's already rolling than to keep giving the same pitch of, hey, come over here and turn us around. That's what we're asking for right now when you have two people on the preseason Big 12 list. That's why I didn't make a video about it. That's why I didn't make a video about it on this channel. So if you want to get upset about that, get upset about that. That's where the energy needs to go. Because I'll tell you this, when the season ends, it's not just, it's about winning. That's, it is as black and white as that. It is. It's just for Steve Sarkisian. Because if you win, the recruiting is a breeze. And I've said that on Twitter for those who follow me. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. But when you're looking at the end of the season and what's in it for the players and what's in it for them down the road and long term, there better damn well be more than 2 Texas players on the end of the season all-conference Big 12 list. That's where you got to flood those teams. Because if you're flooding that list, that means we were successful. And that means I can then go turn around and say, hey, our product launch was successful. Come aboard. Here's production. And that means people putting up numbers. 1,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rushers. And again, it's not even just about, you go 7-3 last year. It's not just that you went 7-3 last year. For people that are, however you feel about Tom Herman, it's not just that you go 7-3 last year. It's how it looks. You're sweating bullets every single week, regardless of the opponent. Go blow some people out, put up some numbers, and have that wow factor to your product. Have that wow factor to an aerial attack where you're getting people the football in space and they're being showcased. Have that wow factor to breaking off big runs, holes mile wide, you're taking advantage. Guys are getting sacks. Guys are getting interceptions, turnovers. The whole bit. Back in the 2000s, who's going to block a kick this week? Now, there's some positives. That's why I'm not tripping over the recruiting. Jamarion Miller is a positive. I'm excited to have that brother on board. I've talked about that before. Cole Hudson, Connor Robertson, while they may not be creme de la creme, big-time, big star recruits, I love the fact that we're signing guys like that to build out the interior line and develop them, get those guys stronger. And those are meat and potatoes type of linemen that every school is looking for. It's not just about recruiting the biggest and baddest stars. Yeah, I want Denver Harris. Yeah, I want Harold Perkins. Come through. Make sure I attend the barbecue. The list is looking impressive. Come through. I'm with it. But the evaluations matter just as much. The development matters even more when they get here. So you don't end up with 2 people on the all-conference list. I'm fired up today because I'm just sick and tired of the bitching and moaning about recruiting when this whole season is so pivotal to what we're seeing on the field. Think backwards in this regard. The last thing I'm going to say is this. If you're 30 and older, I'm 30 and older. I'm an older head now. If you're 30 and older and you were around to see when this thing was really humming, we understand that the landscape of recruiting in high school football within the state of Texas is very, very different. Shout out to Josh Pate and Late Kick. They made a fantastic video the other day talking about the landscape of recruiting within Texas, and everybody's coming into the state. We get all that. We get the competitive landscape of the Big 12 has changed significantly over the last 15, 20 years. We get all that. But back in the day when Texas was humming, let me put it this way. Dudes had to commit so early because there weren't enough spots. And if you win, that's how it looks. Even in this new landscape, it can still look like that for Texas, where dudes are trying to get on board because, hey, we only may be able to take 2 tackles this class. You better hop on. We may be able to only take three receivers. You better hop on now. That's what it's going to look like. Instead of us trying to chase down people at the last minute and try to prove that we can get somebody in the NFL and prove we can get first-round picks. When it's humming, people are committing to you early. Your class is almost wrapped up before you go into the season, and now you're just kind of cherry-picking on evaluations. That's where you got to get back to. And that starts on the field. That starts with your product launch. Guys, I appreciate it. I know this was, I wanted to get right into it and just share my thoughts on this because I'm passionate just like you guys are. But we got to put our energy in the right place. And I'm not saying complaining is bad or nitpicking evaluations. That's healthy. We all have our subjective thoughts in regards of where we want to kind of target certain things, recruiting for the scheme. I get all those things. And we're a big fan base, so we're automatically loud, and people are going to call us all sorts of names toxic. This right here is a family meeting right now, by the way. But you got to win now. And so the people listening in and watching from outside the nest, you OU fans, y'all know what I'm talking about in terms of win early. You saw what Bob Stoops did, year 2 winning a national championship and getting off to a good start early. That is critical for the state of this Texas program. It's on the field, getting off early and having a successful product launch. Steve Sarkisian knew what he was getting into. This is not a machine he was taking over that was full go running like a Ryan Day replacing a Urban Meyer, Ohio State, or a Lincoln Riley replacing Bob Stoops. This is not the situation he's walking into. He has to get the machine going. The parts are there, in my opinion, but he's got to get the machine going. Guys, I appreciate y'all. Let's get to 10K. Let's get this wrapped up and get into the season with some momentum. Remember, Matthew, thank you, by the way. Appreciate it. I know I'm fired up, so a lot of things are spinning. But I appreciate y'all. Remember, Horns always up.